The rumor mill around Boston is getting louder, and today's focus hits a nerve that nobody expected. A proposed trade flipping Sam Hauser for frontcourt help. The idea alone sounds uncomfortable for a franchise built on spacing and chemistry. Yet the discussions exist, they are gaining traction, and they are pushing Brad Stevens toward one of the toughest decisions of this season. Before we go deeper, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the hype button now, because what comes next changes the way we look at this roster. The Celtics spent the summer betting on young names. Josh Minott and Luka Garza barely touched the floor in Minnesota, but in Boston, they are becoming reliable rotation pieces. The team is still above the luxury tax line, and history tells us that Stevens will always search for a competitive edge while lowering the bill. That is where things get tense. Bleacher Report's Zach Buckley proposed a trade sending Sam Hauser to the Denver Nuggets. In return, Boston would receive Darren Holmes II, Zeke Naji, and a first-round pick in the year 2030 with top 3 protection. Hauser is in the first year of a 4-year contract worth $45 million. He remains one of the most dangerous movement shooters in the league. He hits threes off the catch, punishes closeouts off the dribble, and finishes at the rim with surprising efficiency. Defensively, he is far from a weakness, and his value stretches beyond simple floor spacing. Still, he has been on the trade radar for months because moving him would drop the Celtics below the tax line. And the timing of this slump only adds fuel to this conversation. Over the last 6 games, he is shooting 16.1% from deep on 5.1 attempts per night. Inside the arc, things have been just as rough, sitting at 16.7% on limited attempts. Shooters deal with slumps all the time, and 6 games is not a season-defining sample. Hauser has recovered from stretches like this before, and everybody knows it. But this team needs rhythm now. If the cold streak continues, his trade value could fall right before the deadline. His season average of 34.1% from deep would be the lowest of his career. Here comes the conflict. Joe Mazzulla runs an offense built on volume, 3-point shooting. Hauser fits that identity perfectly. A homegrown talent since 2021. Cost controlled for the next 4 years. One of the best specialists at exactly what Boston wants to do. There is logic in keeping him, and there is logic in moving him. That tension is why the situation feels volatile. Trading Anfernee Simons and his $27.6 million expiring deal would make more financial sense and bring more value back. Yet Hauser is the name circulating, and not by coincidence. And so the question becomes urgent. If Denver supports the deal with Darren Holmes II, Zeke Naji, and the 2030 first-round pick, would Stevens actually pull the trigger and remove an NBA champion-level marksman from a roster built around spacing? Or is this proposal just the beginning of a bigger storm that nobody is ready to admit? Because if the Celtics are truly considering sacrificing their most reliable shooter for frontcourt depth and tax relief, what does that say about the real expectations behind closed doors? The clock keeps ticking. Pressure increases. And it leads to a single bombshell question. Is this the final season we watch Sam Hauser in green, or are we witnessing the calm right before Boston shocks the league with an even bigger trade? The Boston Celtics fan base is buzzing, and tonight the topic is heavy. A move that could completely reshape the identity of this roster. A potential pursuit of 3-time All-Star Domantas Sabonis. A center who fits the description of everything Boston has been missing. The type of player who does not become available often. The type of player who forces front offices to make uncomfortable decisions. And the volume of speculation is rising every single day. Sabonis is 29 years old, under contract for $42.3 million this season and for 2 additional years after that. His numbers speak for themselves. 19.1 points per game, 13.9 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game last year. One of the best screen setters in the league. An elite passing big. A relentless presence on the boards. Yes, the defensive concerns exist, but nobody can deny the immediate impact he provides on winning basketball. A center like that sitting on the trade market demands attention. The rumor grew when Sacramento media suggested the possibility of a full rebuild. If Kings ownership is seriously opening that door, then the price will not be cheap. We are talking draft picks, young talent, and major salary matching. The Celtics can make the numbers work. They have Anfernee Simons at $27.7 million, Sam Hauser at $10 million, and multiple near-minimum salaries to stack. They also have most of their future first-round picks. Every ingredient to enter the bidding war. But here is where the tension begins. Bringing Sabonis means altering the offensive style. His passing out of the post is elite, but maximizing his skill set may require slowing down certain parts of the offense. It could also mean sacrificing roster depth. And that raises a real concern. As strong as Sabonis is, would adding a near-max contract center restrict the flexibility that has made this roster so dangerous? Would the front office be willing to risk chemistry for star power? Yet another layer transforms this debate into urgency. Reports are already circulating that multiple contenders are preparing offers. If a race for Sabonis begins, Boston cannot flirt with the idea. They must commit or walk away. A player capable of elevating the Jays and anchoring the paint is rare, but the cost could involve names that fans do not want to hear. And that is where the pressure becomes real. So the Celtics stand at a decisive crossroads. Stick to the current formula of depth and versatility, or pursue a power move that could tilt the balance of the entire Eastern Conference. And it pushes toward the only question that matters right now. If Domantas Sabonis truly becomes available, will Brad Stevens risk breaking the core structure of this roster to secure him? Or will Boston watch another franchise steal the center who might be the final piece for a championship? The NBA world is watching Boston closely, and it is not because of their slow start. It is because of the rumor gaining force every single day. A growing belief that the Celtics are preparing a move for Lauri Markkanen. The idea of adding one of the best floor-spacing big men in the league has turned into the loudest conversation surrounding this franchise. Even at 5 wins and 6 losses, struggling without Kristaps Porzingis and without Jayson Tatum at full strength, there is a sense that Boston is not planning to just survive this season. They are laying the foundation for their next title run, and Markkanen has suddenly become the center of that blueprint. The connection makes sense. Markkanen is one of the best shooters at his size, a strong rebounder, a serviceable defender, a player who stretches the floor in a way few bigs can. He is under contract for 4 more years, earning around $50 million annually. And that long-term security is exactly what front offices covet when building around superstars. Sports Illustrated reporter Chris Mannix did not hold back. He stated that putting Markkanen in Boston, filling the same role Porzingis once filled, could reconstitute the next Celtics dynasty. And when someone as credible as Mannix says that, the league listens. The numbers are no joke either. 28.3 points per game, 6.1 rebounds per game, 1.5 defensive stocks per game. Combine his ability to score with a lineup featuring Tatum, Brown, and Derek White, and the spacing becomes nearly impossible to defend. Add the physical presence of Neemias Queta inside, and the puzzle pieces align in a way that should terrify every opponent in the Eastern Conference. There is risk. The price will be steep. Utah will demand draft picks, young assets, and real commitment. The mock framework circulating around the league outlines exactly that. Boston receives Lauri Markkanen. Utah receives Anthony Simons, Peyton Pritchard, Luka Garza, Sam Hauser, a first-round pick in 2027, another first-round pick in 2031, and a pick swap in 2032. Losing Pritchard hurts. Losing multiple first-round picks hurts. Hauser is valuable, and fans would not enjoy seeing him leave. But the return is a top-tier offensive big man in his prime who fits the timeline of the Jays perfectly. And that type of opportunity does not appear often. If Boston completes this trade, the starting lineup of Markkanen, White, Brown, Tatum, and Queta becomes one of the most balanced groups in the league. Bench depth would still exist with Josh Minott, Hugo Gonzalez, and additional free agents. Suddenly the Celtics go from a transition year to immediate title threat. And that transformation is exactly what has turned these rumors into urgency. So now the tension peaks. The decision in front of Brad Stevens is not about whether Markkanen is good enough. He is. The real question is whether Boston is willing to push every asset to the center of the table right now to build a roster capable of winning a championship the moment Tatum returns at full strength. Will the Celtics take the aggressive route and bring Lauri Markkanen to Boston? Or will they watch another contender grab the piece that could have unlocked the next Celtics dynasty? If you want Boston to stay in the hunt, mark the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the hype button now. The next move could decide the future of the franchise.